Chapter 8. We Strike Rocks. As we drove nearer to the island of Malta, there were more and more rocks in the sea. The sea itself began to run more quickly. The captain had sent a lookout man hot up, and this man suddenly called rocks, keep out from the land. There were two men at the wheel, and they tried their weight on it. But just then the wind changed, and the ship was turned by the movement of the sea. Right onto the rocks there was a crash, and we were thrown off our feet. Mr. Wretch and the few seamen who could do it began to get the ship boat ready. The men had left all kind of things in the boat, which was on the deck in the middle of the ship. I ran to help. Suddenly a voice cried, "Hold on!" I hauled a web through the ship right over on one side. I looked for something to hold on to, but I was too late. The movement of the ship on the sea that came over the deck sent me over the side of the ship. I went down in the water and found my way up, was pushed under by another wave. I don't know how many times I went down and while the right water rushed we away from the ship. After a time I found I was holding on to two pieces of wood from the ship, and then suddenly I was in clear water. I looked for the ship, and I was surprised to see how far the sea had taken me. I could still see the ship, but I could not see whether they had yet got the boat into the water. I saw land not very far away. I'm not a good swimmer, but I held onto the piece of wood and kicked with my leg. After about an hour, I could put my feet on the bottom and walk onto the land. I was wet, very tired, cold and hungry. I started to walk away from the sea, hoping to find a house. In a house, I thought I can get dry and warm, and they can tell me about the ship and tell me on it. It was rough ground to walk over, nothing but rock with heather among them. I walked until I came to water. There was land beyond the water, but I could not reach it. I turned and followed in the water's edge, climbing and failing over the rocks. After a time, I saw that the line beyond the water was far away. I turned again to try to find a crossing the other way. No, I was on a small island with no house and no people. The big island of Mull was across the water. In the end, I crossed the small island again and looked for my piece of wood. Carrying it across the island nearly killed me, but I got it into the water at the nearest point to Mull. After the rest, I swam across with it. As I climbed up the rocks on the other side, a piece of money fell from my pocket. When the sailors gave me back my money, they kept some, and they also kept my father's money back. So my money was in my pocket without my bag. Now I thought that climbing and swimming had made a hole in my pocket. Most of my money had gone on the bottom of the sea. I had left a sentient weight more than 50 pounds. Now I had just over 3 pounds.